DeAndre Hopkins to the Tennessee Titans. He's visiting them on Sunday. If it happened, would it be a splash or would it be just a big pile of meh? Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlock. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop. Won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not two.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. We've been talking a lot about this DeAndre Hopkins thing and whether or not he'd be a fit with the Houston Texans. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins would be a fit in this version of the Houston Texans. I don't think the Texans should be interested. I've laid it out. We'll go over it a little bit again here. We'll also talk about what he would be as a Tennessee Titan. How would that make you feel emotionally? How much would it contribute to what they're trying to do, whatever the heck they're trying to do up there in Tennessee with the old Oilers / Tennessee Titans? John McClain joined my show on Sports Radio 610 earlier this week. And myself, John Lopez, Figgy Fig, spoke to John McClain, and we just asked him, hey, are the Texans interested in DeAndre Hopkins? Is DeAndre Hopkins interested in the Houston Texans? This is what the general had to say when we asked him about that.
They have not met with him. They have no interest in him, and he has no interest in coming here.
So you don't think he has interest either?
Absolutely not. He just listed 4 teams he wanted to go to and 4 quarterbacks. They're all Super Bowl contenders, great players, but none have the kind of money he wants. And so right after he finally hires an agent, then stories start to leak about how much he likes the Texans and Stroud. Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't, he just fell in love with him overnight. So his agent's doing what an agent should do, trying to drum up support to get somebody else to give him more, an offer closer to what they're looking for.
Okay, so he doesn't think that the Texans are interested. He doesn't think DeAndre is. He thinks they're just trying to drum up support. The market's pretty bare right now for DeAndre Hopkins. Tennessee is the only team that he has a visit with. New England's gotten momentum. Other teams seem to be a little bit bullish. Now, some people would ask, well, why would you be bullish? He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. And look, a few years ago, that was true. DeAndre Hopkins was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But at this point, he's declining. And how much of a decline is debatable, but at this point, he's declining. 2 years ago, he only played 10 games. He had 572 yards. And the year after he got suspended for the Peds, he only played 9 games. And the numbers are just going down and down. He had a large target share last year, 96 targets, the 64 receptions. A lot of that was in mop-up duty with the Arizona Cardinals. Some people might say, well, the Arizona Cardinals have a bad quarterback situation. That used to not matter with DeAndre Hopkins. That used to be what you hang your hat on. Sometimes it just happens. Father Time catches up to you. And we've seen guys at the age of 31, that's the point where they begin to fall off. And some of those guys, when it happened, there weren't even clues. There's clues with DeAndre Hopkins. For the first time in his career, he's missing games. He's getting popped for the PEDs. The rest of the league doesn't seem to be knocking on DeAndre Hopkins' door. You can blame the timing, whatever you want to do, but sometimes it just happens. Julio Jones, last 3 years. These are the last 3 years, the 3 worst years of his career. They were all post-31. Andre Johnson had 2 elite years after age 31, but then there was a little bit of a decline. But Andre Johnson never showed any signs at 31. DeAndre Hopkins is showing signs of that. And some of the stuff that he used to do when he was great, it matters a lot more now. Not practicing. That doesn't matter when you're DeAndre Hopkins. You're the best wide receiver in the game, and you know the system like the back of your hand. But if you bring him into Houston and you bring him into a new system, you're going to need practice. You're going to need practice time. You're going to need the young guys to see DeAndre Hopkins practicing. Again, would tolerate it if he were elite. I don't think he's elite anymore. I think he's declining. I think the rest of the league seems to back up what I think. A lot of people might disagree. If you disagree, put it on the comments. Hit me up at Landry Locker on Twitter, or you can listen to the show, text in there. It's it's a differing of opinion, but I do think a lot of people are kind of getting on board that he might not be elite. It'll be funny too to see some of the Texans fans that might want DeAndre Hopkins here and what they say about him now if he does go to Tennessee. Here's some more on why I don't think DeAndre Hopkins makes sense with the Texans. Not being elite would be number one. Number two, it's a one-year thing that isn't a home run. It's not. There's no guarantee that DeAndre Hopkins comes here and automatically makes you better, even if he's still playing well. If you're trying to develop these other receivers who don't have nearly the ceiling that DeAndre Hopkins is, then you can say, well, they're getting better because he's there. Sometimes in a perfect situation, that's true. What if they're not getting as much opportunity? What if your rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud, is so focused on D-Hop that he's not spreading the ball around? We saw that with Patrick Mahomes last year. Patrick Mahomes was spreading the ball out, and he ended up winning the MVP. So it's a one-year thing where there's no home run. Reason number three, it could halt the progress of the other guys. DeAndre Hopkins needs to line up in the slot. I feel like we've had this conversation a lot, but he needs to line up in the slot a lot at this point. So you're pushing a lot of guys out of the way. You're not spreading the love. And again, it's a guy who's had durability concerns. He just got popped with PEDs. He appears to be on the decline. With all that said, though, different situations can be favorable when it comes to the player and team point of view. So it might not be a good thing for the Texans. I actually think it's a great thing for the Tennessee Titans. And I think this is a risk worth taking for the Tennessee Titans. I think from a Tennessee Titans point of view, this makes sense. And allow me to explain that. Why is this a good fit for Tennessee and not for Houston? Reason number one is the Titans are awkwardly all in. The Titans are awkwardly all in. So the Tennessee Titans, they don't have much of a ceiling. We kind of know what their ceiling is, even when they're at their best. Even when they were the one seed, no one took them serious. No one thought they were the best team in the AFC a few years ago. You know what their ceiling is, but it's not like they're rebuilding. They don't have the best salary cap situation. They've had to cut guys. They're not committed to starting Will Levis this year. It looks like they're going to go one more year with Ryan Tannehill. Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs in recent NFL history. It's not like he has a lot of time left. So they're kind of in that win now mode with a limited ceiling. So it's awkward. So when you're in that situation, you can bring in DeAndre Hopkins on a one-year contract, and it's really not going to hurt you. It's not like the Texans who a year from now, maybe if they halt the progress of some of the young guys, then there's something that was with a negative impact of some sort for the Texans. That's not the case with the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are basically on a one-year plan. Eventually, they're going to have to blow it up and figure it out. But in a perfect world, the Tennessee Titans start Ryan Tannehill, Mike Vrabel, and company find a way to scrap together 9 wins or 10 wins and compete. And then next year, they're in whatever situation they're in, salary cap hell, et cetera. They got to make some other decisions, and then they basically got to start over. They're awkwardly all in. So when you're awkwardly all in, it makes sense to take an awkwardly once elite receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, who you can get on a bargain deal because there's no consequence. What are you ruining? Will Levis isn't going to start week 1, is he? You going to do that? I don't think so. So you're awkwardly all in. So why not? From a Tennessee Titans perspective, they're not that, but here in Houston, they're actually building something. Something's actually being built. They're trying to build something long-term. Now, it might not end up working. I'm not sitting here saying that they're building something special, but they are trying to develop players. They are trying to develop a young quarterback, and they're already in that process. Tennessee hadn't gotten in that process yet. They're awkwardly all in. So awkwardly go all in, bring in DeAndre Hopkins, try to make it work, but they're actually building something here. Another reason why Tennessee makes sense and not Houston, he knows that system. He knows that system. I don't even think he probably knows it like the back of his hand. Hell, we saw him perform in that system at an elite level, at an all-time great level around here. Tim Kelly is the offensive coordinator. Tim Kelly was here in Houston much of DeAndre Hopkins' time. He was with Bill O'Brien the whole time. It's the exact same system. He knows it. knows it like the back of his hand. If you're not going to practice, you don't have to learn anything new. He knows that system. So that could work out as well. And that's really all I got with the DeAndre Hopkins thing. What say you? Do you think DeAndre Hopkins to Tennessee, how does that make you feel? Emotionally, does that make you feel weird? I've already seen DeAndre Hopkins in an Arizona Cardinals uniform. At this point, it could be a deja vu type of thing. It was originally weird to see Andre Johnson in a Colts jersey and then the Titans jersey. I feel like DeAndre Hopkins going to the Titans is going to be a lot closer to the Andre tenure and some of the great wide receivers in the past that we've seen in Titans uniforms where it didn't work out. See Andre Johnson, see Randy Moss, see Julio Jones, who we just mentioned. It's kind of a Titans tradition. Let's bring in the once great wide receiver and let's see what he got. Come on down, Randy Moss. Come on down, Andre Johnson. Come on down, Julio Jones. Same thing. I think this is closer to that than some sort of guy that's going to put him over the top. But Tom Pelissaro has the report. DeAndre Hopkins will be visiting the Tennessee Titans, and he will be doing so on Sunday. Big deal. Don't know how much of an impact that makes, but quite honestly, it makes perfect sense there. It makes a hell of a lot more sense there, at least in my opinion, than it does in Houston. Subscribe, like, ride along, agree, disagree, cuss, discuss. It's all in good fun, no matter what happens, whether DeAndre Hopkins goes to Tennessee and completely thrives, or whether he flops when it comes to this Texan stuff. We are all in this together. Have a good one.
Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, top two.